What's up? How's everybody doing? So, I'm still trying to figure out this whole YouTube thing, honestly, trying to figure out framing, what's going to be the best. I don't know if this framing is good. I did have both of my cats in here, but Moto just walked away, so whatever. So, let's see my notes. I have titled this video, I have joined the dark side, because I got one of these. So, I want to start this off as to why I didn't want one. Like, why I just didn't see a purpose in getting a Kindle. I got the Kindle Paperwhite. Apparently it's the 2023 version, even though there's technically not a 2023 version. It's the only one they had that had 32 gigabytes at Best Buy when I went and impulsively-ish bought one. I've been thinking about it for a while, going back and forth and arguing with myself about wanting one. Talked to my husband and he said, just go, just do it. Just full send, just do it. And I said, okay. Don't tell me twice, okay. Alright, so let's go into why I didn't want one. Then we're going to talk about why I did end up buying one. And then I will go into my initial thoughts with the pros and the cons that I have seen so far. And I have literally owned this for like 2 days. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. And maybe a little later, if you guys want, I will make a tutorial because I think the learning curve is a little, like, it's not steep, but there is a learning curve, like just a slight one. So let's talk about why I didn't want one. So in my opinion, physical reading to me was just so much better than reading on an e-reader, because I was like, oh, I love the feeling of a book, I love the smell of a book, I love the physical turning the page. I was thinking, you know, I'm not gonna stop physically reading, so why would I get an e-reader? Like, what's the point? If I'm still going to own physical books, if I'm still going to read from physical books, why would I also want to e-read? Like, I have a phone, I have an iPad, like, why would I get one? And my other thought was, if I do decide to get a Kindle, I will still want to own the books that I read, that I like. Now, if I don't like them or I just feel iffy on them or whatever, you know, I'm not going to want to own them. So that's a good point of having an e-reader. Is like, oh hey, I, you know, didn't like this book. At least it's not taking up space in my home, where I have to go and donate it or something, which I already have to do with a book that I DNF'd this year. It's not a big deal. I felt like, I'm looking at my notes, I felt like I could just travel with the books that I own because I'm not an extremely fast reader. So it's like, okay, it doesn't matter. Like, I can just take the books that I want to read. Like, say I'm leaving for a week, I'm only gonna take one book. If the book is, you know, almost 1,000 pages or something like that, I'm only gonna take one book, and only Lord knows if I'm actually going to read while I'm on that vacation or trip or whatever it is. And yeah, again, with the owning the physical and the e-readers, I kind of didn't want to buy multiple copies of the same book because it felt very redundant, and I try to be fairly responsible with my money, and it just didn't feel responsible to own the physical book and also the ebook for my personal spending choices. Now, with anyone else, if you want to own the book in multiple different ways, then that's whatever. And my goal is to still not own the books on Kindle, like purchase them and also own them physically. I may do one or the other unless I really like the ebook and want to buy the book. I feel like that's different because it's still a collection to some degree. Owning books is still like collecting unless you read a book and give it away or whatever. So all of this like sounds like, okay, so why did you end up buying one? Because you make a lot of points to, you know, why you personally don't want to buy one, so why did you? Well, that's a good question. And I have some answers. Let's put my cute little Kindle up here. You can't see it, but I have little designs on here. Let me go ahead and show you. I went to a foodie festival with my husband and some friends, and we got these cute little stickers, and I just placed them on the back so I didn't actually have to stick them on there, and I think they're super cute. So it's also where I got this hoodie. Okay, so most importantly as to why I decided to get a Kindle is for my health and my pain. So you may be wondering, Noelle, what do you mean your health and your pain when it comes to physical books? So I wanted to mention, and I've said it in a couple of my other videos, but this may be the first video that you're watching that you're seeing my face, which, welcome, hi. But I have retired from the Marine Corps medically, and I have a bunch of injuries that can be exacerbated, I think is the word. The pain can be amplified from many different things, many different daily activities. And so one of my injuries is both of my thumbs. So I have pulley injuries in both of my thumbs, in which the tendons are separating from the bone in my thumbs because I've had the injury for a couple of years now. And so when I'm holding open a book for a long period of time, my thumbs start to get this burning sensation that it won't go away. And with the Kindle, I can hold it, or I can rest it on something, whereas books, you can't always do that, especially me who likes to keep my books more pristine. Like, I'm currently reading The Goblet of Fire, and I can't really set this one down because it's just gonna close back up. But there are some like floppy books that I can set down and just open and just, hands off. But I can't really do that with this one unless I cracked the spine, in which I am not a person who likes to do that because I'm not a monster. So with the Kindle, I can just have this little pop socket on here. I can get a bigger one. I might end up getting a bigger one because I know that those are better for Kindle, I guess. And holding it like this is not as problematic. Now tapping with my thumb or resting it, whatever, it may seem kind of silly, but it still does cause me problems, just not as much as actually like physically having to hold it open, because the injuries are right here. Like right within this joint right here, and so having to do that is flexing those muscles in there that is, causing the problem for me. So that's one of the main reasons. And then also, Kindle, I can lay down and read, and I can, move around and read, and I can get in pain with my hips and my knees just sitting there and like not walking around for a long period of time, just, sitting. And I think that's for everybody. Like, we all get a little, what's it called? We all get a little stiff when we're sitting down, of course. And I have a lot of neck and back pain as well from injuries from the Marine Corps and everything. So I also need to be aware of that and be aware of my posture. And while reading, if I have the thumb injuries and I'm trying to hold my book up for a good posture, it's more difficult than if I were to hold something that it weighs less, that I don't have to hold in the same way. And it's really, I don't want to say first world problems, it just gets kind of irritating because this is like a very mundane activity. Like, this shouldn't be something that's causing me pain, and that's why chronic injuries that you can't see are very frustrating, because everyone who deals with a chronic illness that may be invisible to other people, or chronic injuries, everyday activities that we don't talk about can be very frustrating to do, and that goes in with mental health stuff as well. But we're not getting too far into that. If you want me to make videos on that, then I will do that, but that's not what we're talking about here today. So the next point, this is all one point to why I ended up buying one. The second point is that I went on a trip recently with the Marine Corps. So I do Wounded Warrior athlete stuff, so adaptive sports for wounded, ill, and injured vets and active duty. And there were so many times where I wanted to read and I wanted to pull out my book, but it just kind of felt weird to be sitting there with a book, which is very arbitrary of a problem, I guess, but it just kind of felt weird. If I were to, not my foot in the camera. It just kind of felt weird to be sitting there with a book when there's people there. I didn't want to be ignoring them. I wanted to be socializing. But then even when I got back to my hotel room, I just wanted to lay down. Like, I was so exhausted from standing all day, which is something I shouldn't be doing anyway, but don't tell my doctors, so. But just from moving around and being in the sun all day, like, I had no energy to read. And so I was like, I have no energy to hold this open with my hands. Like, my wrists and stuff were already hurting from doing different things with my shoulders and just being so active that I was like, I need to just lie down. And I feel like when we have something like this, it's very alike to holding your phone in a social situation, which is very normal, like, you can easily just turn this off, and continue talking with someone. I feel like when you have a book up, it's like a barrier between you and another person, and it's like, it says don't talk to me, but that's not what I wanted, not for this trip anyway. And then plus, like, going outside and the weather and everything like that, like, I don't want to bring my book out there and ruin my book. The sun can ruin your book, kind of similarly to how water can, like, make the pages all wobbly, if that makes sense. And just traveling in general with a book is not great, because I like keeping my books pristine, and taking it in and out of this purse I had was making the pages a little damaged and making the book like warp a little bit, whereas the Kindle, you just put it in, take it out, whatever, at any time, and you don't have any sort of issues with damage as long as you're keeping it protected by a case and everything. And then another point is that like Kindles didn't really appeal to me in the same way that reading a physical book did until like I had my friends like e-reading, whether it was with their phone or the Kindle or whatever. And I know that the Kindle is better for your eyes than a phone versus a tablet and everything like that. Like it's just a more paper-like thing, so it shouldn't be as damaging to your eyes as blue light, you know, the bright phone screens and everything like that. And I would go out with my friends and see how easy it was for them to just pull out the Kindle, switch back and forth between different books they were reading, you know, read books in public, you know, just very quickly take it out just like you would your phone, instead of like taking out a book, opening it, you know, shielding yourself off from everyone else, and possibly damaging your book and all of these other things. And I was like, it's starting to appeal to me because the battery life is really good. You can take it wherever you want. It's very compact, unlike some of these books that I have back here, which are not heavy, but they're heavier than the Kindle, okay? Like, you know, 1,000-page books that just don't travel as well, you know? Once I found out that libraries were free, now don't come for me, okay? Because not everyone's library is free. And I haven't owned a library card since I was a very, very young kid in Florida, and my grandma was the owner of the library card. I didn't know why or how she had the library card. I just know that me and my sister went to the library with her, and we would get books and bring them back. And that's basically all I knew. I was not very aware of everything. And then Amazon Prime also has some free books, not very many to be fair, and I'm not talking about Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited is obviously a whole other thing, but I already have Amazon Prime, so there are some free books that come with Amazon Prime. I wish they would just combine Kindle Unlimited and Amazon Prime because that just makes sense to me. There's a lot of money grab stuff that comes with Amazon, which also kind of hindered me to want to buy one because I'm not a big fan of what Amazon does and the money grabs that they do. However, it is beneficial to me to own the Kindle and for it to be the Amazon product because I've seen some of the other e-readers that aren't as good. They're a little slower, their programs are a little bit more difficult, and so I was like, you know what, let me just go the easy route, just get the Kindle. And yeah, so and then I have also been getting a little bit of anxiety when it comes to moving. So my husband and I will be moving from California to North Carolina in a couple months. And I already own a good amount of books, in my opinion. Like, this is a lot. This cost me a lot of money, you know, over time. And my husband who's bought me books, or my friends who have bought me some of these books. And buying books is not cheap, right? Like, we're all aware of this. And the Kindle is not cheap either. By itself, the Kindle is not cheap. It is very great that we can go to the library, get a free library card, and, you know, go on the Kindle and get some books, though you may have that waiting period because it's the library. And they can only have a certain amount of, you know, electronic copies, just the same as physical copies. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, and so I've had a bit of anxiety because I feel like I already own too many books, and a lot of these are first in a series, and I kind of like reading my books one right after the other unless they're very, very heavy, like Robin Hobb's books. I'm still in the middle of her second book, and I will probably end up rereading it, and I was hoping that I'd be able to find it at the library and that it would be, you know, something I could read immediately, but it's not, and that's okay. I have the physical book, so I will just read the physical book. However, it is a bit daunting to hold up this big brick in my hand, and the words are very tiny on the page, so it does cause a little bit of eye strain sometimes. But anyway, so I'm moving soon, and I don't want to keep buying books as we're about to move. Like, I'm happy with the books that I have now, and then I'll just borrow the second and third, whatever, from the library, and then I will buy them if I liked them, and then I can reread them later. And so my goal is to, if I have already supported the author, no, scratch that. Okay, so I'm just trying not to buy any more books at the current moment, at least physically. And if I already own them, I don't want to purchase them again on the Kindle. I'll just read them physical or figure out a way to get them on the Kindle because I've already supported the author. But I do recommend supporting your authors always. I just feel it's a bit redundant, like I said, to buy the ebook and physical and audio if you're into that. Like, I'm not a big audio person because my audio, like me listening to people is already hard, so me trying to listen to a story, kind of out of the question for me. So, all right, so let's go into my initial thoughts. We'll go into the pros and then we'll go into the cons. So the pros, much easier to pull out than a book. I already talked about that, and it's a great alternative versus me using my iPad, which is gigantic, and better than pulling out my phone because of the eye strain, for one. And then also that my phone is very distracting, and I'm not going to put it on focus mode or anything like that, but I have felt already that as I'm reading on the Kindle, it's just me and the Kindle, you know? Like, I'm not worried about the notifications that pop up, you know? I'm just sitting here and it's me and the Kindle, and it's been really nice to have that. I've already pulled it out and read before my doctor comes in to the room, and I'm just very easily, you know, turn it off, put it down, and you know, it's easy to sit there in the waiting room and just pull out the Kindle. I don't have to worry about if there's any lighting issues or anything like that because the Kindle has the automatic brightness or whatever, the 2023 quote-unquote version, and on the other ones you can adjust. I could not eat or drink coffee or whatever and read at the same time, especially with my stiff books, like the thumb injuries and everything. It was just not going to happen with me trying to hold them open, or even the thumb tabs, like that would still cause the same issue. And I also don't want to damage my books by getting food on them or drinks or anything like that, because books are expensive, as we have already discussed. So I can just hold this here, or I can set it down on a pillow or something, and I can just tap, easy, we're done. Drinking my morning coffee, relaxing. It just feels a lot easier to pick up and just do that no matter, you know, what I'm doing. Okay, so I've already talked about no eye strain. Reading physically, I have noticed, makes me more tired, and I don't know why that is. But if someone has some sort of scientific, you know, something they can tell me in the comments to tell me. Maybe it's just that I'm so excited that I have a new toy. I'm like, oh yay, I get to like figure out all the stuff with this and enjoy reading, and I don't know, maybe I'm just so excited about it, but maybe there's something to it that I don't know. Okay, and I've already talked about how it's less strain on my thumbs and on my neck. I've been having terrible neck pain. I need to go see a chiropractor desperately. Free books at the library is always great. And then I can switch between books very easily. Like, I don't have to bring multiple books with me. Like, I'm reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire right now, free from, I want to say, from Prime Reading, and I can just switch between that and manga, for example. Like, I am not a manga reader, but I would like to be. I think manga and anime is cool. I stepped out of it for a very, very long time. I used to watch a lot of anime when I was younger because it was something that my mom loved and my sister loved, and I kind of wanted to be a part of that, and that kind of brought us closer together. But as I got older, I just stepped away from it, and then also, even after that, joining the Marine Corps and everything, and going through some things, I, you know, realized the way women are portrayed and the fan service that is in there, and it was just too much for me to deal with. And I feel like I have been working through my trauma, and those things don't affect me as much anymore in the same way that they would have previously. It still does affect me in some sort of way. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to read something that's going to be extremely raunchy and grotesque or whatever when it comes to like sexual stuff or just nudity in general. Don't really want to see it, not really my thing. And that's not to knock anyone else for it. It's just that me personally and the things I've been through, it's not something that I really gravitate towards. It's something that I do the opposite of that. So let's see. So yeah, it gives me the opportunity to read manga, especially because they have some free ones at the library, and manga is very expensive and very quick to read. So doing that on ebook, I think, is like the best way to read manga, in my personal opinion, is because you can do it for quote unquote free, let's call it, because the Kindle is not free. The Kindle is actually quite expensive, but we'll get into that in my cons. And then the dictionary on here is very beneficial, especially I can get Spanish books on here, and that's a game changer for me. If you watch some of my other videos or know me in real life, you know that I'm a Spanish major in college at the moment, and I love that there's that feature for English and Spanish at least. I don't know if it's for the other features or the other languages. You'll have to fact check me on that or go look it up, but you know, I can click on a word on the Kindle and then it can give me the definition in Spanish, and then it could give me a translation if I don't get it after that. And I feel like that's a great way for me to learn, is to learn it contextually, learn the definition in Spanish, and then translate it if I absolutely don't know what's going on, which, you know, happens. All right, so I think, oh yeah, another great thing about this is that you can have the percentage on here and the location you're at or the page number and how long it takes you to get through the chapter or how long it takes you to get through the rest of the book. That's all stuff that's very distracting to me because and I may have ADHD, okay? I don't actually know, but I have OCD. Okay, and that has a lot of similar symptoms to ADHD in the sense of like distractions, very easy, you know, a lot of compulsion stuff for when I get anxiety. But basically, I can turn all of that off and it's just the words on the page. And I like having the time up there too because I have lots of appointments and I need to know what time it is and places I need to be, people I need to see, okay? And so all I have is the words and the time it is. And that's great because it feels so much less distracting. Like I feel like I said, it's me and the Kindle. It's me and the book, and that's it. Like I don't have to worry about notifications popping up. I don't have to worry about looking at the page number, looking at how many pages are left in the chapter, because it's not as easy to do. You gotta go through a couple different steps and do all that. So I have really been enjoying that. And it's not like I'm actually reading faster, but just feels like I'm less distracted. So I am reading more. All right, let's go ahead and get into the cons. The library wait is a very obvious one. I think another very obvious one is that Kindles are not cheap. They are quite expensive, in my opinion. I got the quote-unquote 2023 Kindle Paperwhite. And the only differences between that is that there is a wireless charging, which I didn't care about, and that the auto brightness, which I also didn't care about, but it was the only one left in store that was 32 gigabytes. And I probably don't even need 32 gigabytes, but I just wanted to be safe instead of having to buy another Kindle later. And it ended up costing me $200, which is a lot. And I mean, taxes were on top of that. I think before taxes, like $140 to $180 or something like that, which is not cheap. It's not. Like, let's be real. Is it cheaper than buying like a whole bunch of physical books? Yes. But at the end of the day, you still have to buy ebooks if you don't want to wait for the library wait time. Or if you, for some reason, do not have access to a library, say you're in a really rural location and you can't get to a library, like, you still have to buy the ebooks. They are like about half as expensive, but you still have to buy the Kindle and then the ebooks on top of that. And then Kindle Unlimited is not necessarily cheap either. It's like $12 a month. For me personally, I don't read enough to think that it's very worth it for me to get Kindle Unlimited. But I know that people read, you know, if you read like more than 2 books a month, it's worth it. But I am a slow reader. So that's just, it is what it is. All right, there is a small learning curve as well, which is why I would like to do a video on it. Just very quick, like here's the settings. Like it took me a second to figure out how to get out of the book and to the home screen because I had no idea what was going on, but there's plenty of videos on YouTube about it, I'm sure. Let's see. Oh yes, also, physical books are awesome. Just love having a book in my hand. It's just unfortunate that I do have a lot of pain and that causes issues for me, but I do love physical books. Like the actual, like just having a book in my hand just feels a lot better. And I also worry about my reading comprehension because I've read something that reading books physically is a little bit better than reading books electronically for comprehension wise because it's physical. Now you can go look up the science on that, and I am questioning if that just means like reading on the computer or if it also includes like ebooks with the Kindle, even though it's very kind of similar to having a book. Is it still going to have that same sort of effect where it downs my reading comprehension? And I think I would like to make a video on that like a year from now and say, here's my opinion on it. You know, here's the books I read on Kindle, how much I remember of those versus the ones I read physically, and you know, those sort of things. The store on Kindle isn't the best. It's, you know, it's like slightly slow, but I don't mind. And then just the software is older feeling, which I think is nice. Like it's a nice like change of pace, but at the same time, like I said, there is that little bit of a learning curve. It's not all written out for you. It's not like searching in Google and finding everything you want all at once. It's kind of, you gotta go on there, you gotta search for stuff. You know, you have to go on Libby, or another like Overdrive or something like that, and go into your library there, press get the book, it sends to Kindle. Very convenient. But sometimes there are a couple more steps than what you may think. And then you could also do, like say you have a book in a PDF form, you can also send that to your Kindle through the Kindle app, and maybe also if you plug the Kindle into the computer. Like I said, I don't know everything because I did just get the Kindle, but I wanted y'all to get my really raw and real thoughts on how I felt about it, how my experience is so far. There are more pros than there are cons, even though it may not seem like it. I am actually really enjoying the process of just it being me and the book, the Kindle, me being able to lay down and like cuddle with my husband or whatever and not be like with my book and like hurting my shoulder and like getting all this nerve pain or whatever in my hands and stuff. I can just like Kindle, boom, tap, done. Okay, and that has been very beneficial to me. Just, it makes reading feel like not as much of a task because I'm already used to holding my phone in my hand and scrolling and whatever, and this is just a better alternative than scrolling on Instagram or something, in my opinion. So I think that if you feel like me, a little bit on the fence, you know, you're like, oh hey, you know, I kind of agree with what she says, you know, or maybe you have the same sort of pains, neck and back pain. I feel like all of us over 20 at this point like have neck and back pain, which I don't know what is happening to this generation, but like we're all in pain, okay? And whether you served or not, like whether you're in the military or not, like I have a lot of my friends who did not join the military who are also dealing with a lot of chronic physical and mental health issues. So I don't know why I keep going off on random tangents. Like I don't even have the energy to go off on tangents, but here I am. So I hope y'all enjoyed. And let me know if you want any more Kindle content, any more thoughts, if you have any specific questions to your situation. If you think I can give you any sort of advice, just go ahead and drop down the question. If you have a Kindle, let me know what you think about it. If you don't have a Kindle, you don't want to get one, let me know why not. Because we may share some things in common, and you know, I ended up getting one anyway because there were a couple things that kind of pushed me over the edge to be like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and bite the bullet and just buy it, you know? But yeah, let me know what y'all think. Let me know how y'all are doing. Let me know what y'all are reading. Let me know what else you want to see from me. Any other questions, whether it has to do with just life in general. I'm open to it. We're all friends here. Like, let's talk. Let's have conversations down in the comments. And yeah, I will see y'all sometime soon. Bye.